go to a symposium at Andrews University with Umberto Rossi. If it happens, and have PhD program, I needed to hear from some people.
Papers in 95 books, including God Exists, Consciousness, and the Existence of God. It's also published already from articles in journals such as Philosophy, Phenomenological Research, American Philosophical Quarterly, Religious Studies, and Faith and Philosophy. Moreover, JP was selected in August 2016 by the website The Best Schools as one of the 15 most influential living philosophers. It's a big privilege to have JP Moreland speak to us today. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to thank you again on behalf of my colleagues for coming and being with us this evening. My job was to edit and to contribute 2 chapters to the philosophical section of this hernia-inducing book, and I was privileged to do that. This coming August will mark 3 years that I began a battle with 3 different forms of cancer, and that I continue to this day to be fighting. I don't know how long I have. I could have 15 years. I get tested every 6 months. My test results at this point, but before the dying. What is interesting is these cancers, one of my colon, 31 lymph nodes, it was a massive tumor, had actually been developing for years, just underneath the surface of the face. I was concerned that things had become more aggressive, like I turned 70 in 2 days, and my ankles were getting stiff. I get up in the morning and I have to loosen them up, and some other minor health issues regarding skin cancers and things like that. But little did I know that my attention to these kind of more surface issues, while I was doing that, underneath the surface there was this growing malignancy that could very easily destroy me. Now, I think the same thing is happening with theistic evolution in the church. In the church, we're involved with trying to have small groups and to get our worship down, and to have preaching that sort of relates to unbelievers. I'm against all that, but all of that is sort of, in my opinion, surface issues, while we are allowing the worldviews in our culture to slowly permeate like leaven our churches, and it is increasingly causing people to lose confidence in the Bible. One of the reasons young people in the church are sexually active is they simply don't believe Jesus knew what he was talking about. They don't believe that virginity is actually the path of the Christian life. And so they take the Bible not to be authoritative. It's something that promotes curmudgeon God, and it's not for today. Now, as a result of that, in addition to the doctrinal issues that Wayne so good at laying out, there's another issue going on with theistic evolution, and that is the question of who gets the right to define what's real. Who has that right? The answer to that is the person who has knowledge. A person who has knowledge of industry has the right to tell us how mowers work. A person who has knowledge about a certain range of study has a right to tell us about literature. So it is on the basis of knowledge that people have authority to speak and act in public because they know something that makes them an expert that allows them to perform those activities. What theistic evolution has done, as I'm going to show you now, has actually contributed to something called scientism, which has the price that we pay for that is that we allow people to come into the faith because they want to cause theistic evolution or an evolution. But the price is that as a result, people no longer regard the Bible as a source of knowledge. They instead embrace what's called scientism. Now, there are 2 forms of scientism. There's strong and weak scientism. Strong scientism is the idea that the hard sciences are the only source of knowledge and truth about reality. Anything outside the hard sciences, the humanities, like the more theology and ethics, is simply not a personal private evolution, and we must tolerate these personal opinions because nobody knows is right. And there probably isn't anybody right when it comes down to theological issues. As an illustration of this, years ago I was giving an evangelistic talk at Lutheran in the person's home, and one of the Christian brothers said he was inviting his boss, who had a PhD in physics from Hopkins and had been an engineer for about 20-some years, and that he hated Christianity, and he actually went out of his way at work to badger Christians at the coffee for their Christianity. And I said, well, thanks a lot. So I'm there, and I'm at the hors d'oeuvre table, and I can see my friend come in, and he's got an older gentleman with him, and it's obviously his boss. They make a beeline to me, and my friend introduces me to this gentleman, and after we exchange pleasantries, he says, say, I understand you're a philosopher and a theologian. And I said, well, I do have my best effort. And he said, yeah. He said, you know what, I used to be interested in that stuff too when I was a teenager. But when I grew up and matured intellectually, I began to realize that if you can't quantify it and measure it and test it empirically in the lab, it's nothing but hot air and empty opinion. I had a woman come up to me before this gathering saying that a dear friend of hers is undermining and leaving the faith because he believes that science has undermined belief in God. Now, that's what this gentleman was expressing with scientism. Strong scientism. Only the hard sciences can tell us what's true and real, and then we can know. It's the scientist who speaks with authority today. Now, the problem with strong scientism is that it's obviously self-refuting, because the statement, the only thing that you can know and it can be true of reality is what can be tested by the hard sciences, cannot itself be tested by the hard sciences. Therefore, it fails to live up to its own criterion of acceptability. It's like saying there are no sentences of English longer than 3 words. That sentence is self-refuting. And so I let the gentleman talk for about 2 minutes. And he made, I'm going to guess, 20, 30 assertions. And I stopped him and I said, look, I'm confused and I got a problem. You got to help me. I think what you're saying is that the only thing that you really know is what you're going to do. And I said, well, you better about 20 or 30 low-grade, justified beliefs outside of science. But it still holds that science is by far the most authoritative specter of knowledge, so that if philosophy and science come into conflict about whether there's a soul or whether you test your brain, science is going to win that debate because it's got more authority than philosophy, though philosophy may have a little bit low-grade authority. Now, there are a lot of difficulties with weak scientism. I'm going to list two of them very quickly. And for one thing, weak scientism does not allow for the stating and justification of its own assumptions. So science is assumptions. Science makes assumptions, and it knows that there's such a thing as truth, and then it's opposed with reality. It assumes a fairly clear definition of knowledge as a true belief that's based on good evidence and good grounds. But none of these assumptions can be tested by science. Now, science cannot be any stronger than the assumption on which it's based. Since weak scientism undermines the defense of the assumptions of science, is actually opposed to the assumptions themselves. It's being developed. So, scientism undermines science by failing to provide philosophical justification for the assumptions of science themselves. The second problem is that we know things outside of science. And that's just a plain fact. As a matter of fact, we know some things outside of science with far greater rational support than we know in science. For example, there are certain propositions in ethics that we know with more certainty than we know that there are electrons. And I'll give you an illustration of this. After my colon cancer surgery, my stomach wouldn't come back online, so I was in the hospital 9 days, and I saw all kinds of nurses come in on different shifts. And one day, this chipper nurse comes in, and she says, "Well, hi, how are you today?" And I said, "I'm hanging in there." And she says, "Well, what do you do for a living?" And I said, "Well, I was actually majored in physical chemistry in my undergraduate work, but then I went in and did a THM in theology and an MA and a PhD in philosophy and to be a philosophy professor." And there was a postdoc on her face. It's actually happened. I said, "If you don't mind, I'd like to predict what you're thinking right now. You tell me if I'm wrong." What I believe you're thinking is, gosh, you started off in a field of study where there aren't facts, and you can really know what you're right and wrong. And you went over this stuff where nobody knows who's right. There's just a bunch of opinions and this large list about kind of saying whatever you want. She said, "You would think that was what I was thinking." And I said, "Well, I got to tell you, I didn't know about that. In fact, it made me know." I said, "I know an ethical claim with more certainty than I know about electrons. How is that what you know about electrons? And she said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, take the claim. Torturing little babies for the fun of it is wrong. I have more rational support for that than I do. There's a belief in electrons, and here's why." I said, "Do you know anything about the history of the electron?" "I do. I've studied it. Dr. Thompson all the way up from debate between German wave theorists about the electron and the British particle theorists, all the way to the Bohr electron, up to the quantum electron. And if you ask me, do I believe in electrons? I've got to ask, which one did you really find? Well, the first one I found was in 50 years from now, we're going to learn to believe that the electron has been proven conceivably exists. During the history of the electron, we may believe something completely different exists as inconceivable to you. And I said, it's not conceivable to me that in 50 years we will find new evidence that will make the assertion torturing little babies for the fun of it is wrong, rationally incorrect. Now, don't get me wrong, it can be a situation where everybody is me would believe that torturing little babies for fun, but I can't think of rational evidence that would come in that would make that assertion obviously an irrational one. Thus, I have greater certainty in an ethical claim than I do in a scientific claim. Am I right? I don't know. That's an interesting story. Now, my point is that there are areas of knowledge in theology and in ethics that we know with greater certainty than some of the assertions in science. And it goes both ways. There are sources of knowledge outside of science, and we need to learn to live with that fact. Now, the problem with theistic evolution is that it reinforces a commitment to scientism, and you end up with a revisionist view of the Bible. Now, some people say, look, theistic evolution is what allowed me to embrace Christ because I had a problem with creation, and I would have never become a Christian if I hadn't had the option of theistic evolution. Now, my response is the following. Number one, if you're talking to somebody about Jesus, and they want to talk about evolution, my view is to say, look, let's not worry about that right now. Let's kind of stick with what you think of Jesus, and let's get to that later. But I'm not going to tell them it's okay for you to believe in that right now, because first of all, I think what Steve Meyer and others have done is shown that we don't have an obligation to do that, and we've actually got biblical grounds not to. But the other reason is that if I tell a person, hey, there's no problem with that, and they become a Christian on that basis, they've already started a revisionist project in the Bible, because they've revised the first 3 chapters of Genesis. And then when it comes to when neuroscientists claim there's no soul, well, of course we'll have to revise the Bible. No problem with that. The Bible's not a science textbook anyway. And by the way, there's no gender we've learned in science. Okay? No problem with that. And we've also learned that homosexuality is a deterministic factor by your genetic structure and your brain chemistry. So you're not morally responsible for them. Okay? After a while, what authority does the Bible have any longer? So I think theistic evolution undermines the authority of growing in Christ, even though there might be a short-term benefit in a person getting in the door. The way he got in the door is not going to let him grow over the long run. Now, the second thing I want to deal with is a very serious question, and that's when is it okay to disagree with what the majority of experts in the field believe? If I went to 100 oncologists, and 95 of them told me that you need to do this, and 5 of them told me I needed to try natural remedies instead, and they all had health food stores, I'm going to go with the 95, aren't you? If you have 95 realtors say this is a bad house to buy, and 5 said it's okay, I'm going with the 95. I'm going to go with the majority of experts. And unless something happens, because when it comes to evolution, I do exactly the opposite. Because the overwhelming majority of the experts believe the theory of evolution is true. Now, am I rational in doing that? Or am I just doing it because I can't stand giving them a Bible? justified rationally in going against the majority of experts if these two things are present. Number one, if the majority opinion is based on non-rational factors. In other words, if the majority opinion is not based on the evidence, but it's based on non-rational factors. Is that true of evolution? Yes. There are two reasons that evolution is accepted by the majority of biologists and scientists today. And number one is because it got theology of God out of science. Probably one of the best texts on the Darwinian revolution, written by a historian at Georgia State, published by the University of Chicago Press, is Charles Darwin and the Problem of Creation by Neil Gillespie. Gillespie makes the following statement about the Darwinian revolution. Darwin's rejection of special creation was part of the transformation of biology into a natural science, one committed to thoroughly naturalistic explanations based on material causes rather than appealing to divine intervention. Later he says, now listen to this is absolutely crucial. He says, just as science shifted from a theological ground to a naturalistic one, religion shifted from being a field that provided knowledge to one based solely on blind faith. Now the point is that the scientists got tired of having to ask theologians what they had to believe. And so what Darwin did was allowed biology and paleontology to become purely naturalistic. So that while you're doing science, you have to adopt what's called methodological naturalism. You can only appeal to natural explanations, even though you may believe in God. So that wasn't evidence-based. In fact, Gillespie says that for the first 50 years or so, all the evidence was on the side of creationists. It was against Darwin. Darwin didn't win on the evidence for the first 50 years. He won on the fact that he helped scientists naturalize their field and get theology out of their work. Secondly, the reason there's a majority opinion in science for evolution is the way Young's undergrads are sociologized into the field. They are ostracized with institutional rewards and punishments if they don't accept evolution and if they mention intelligent design. I was giving a talk at UC Berkeley a handful of years ago, an evangelistic talk to about 800 students. And before I spoke, I heard that Bill Dembski had come to Berkeley 2 weeks earlier and gave a lecture on intelligent design. Now, Dembski's a stinking genius. He's got 2 doctorates, one in math and one in philosophy. And he's no idiot. And the biology department boycotted the meeting and would not allow their grad or undergrad students to go hear him. Well, if he's such a doofus for believing in this stupid theory, sick your students on him and make a fool out of him in 5 minutes. The other thing that this happened is I met a biology PhD student at UCLA, and he said he had developed an empirically testable intelligent design model for his doctoral dissertation, and he sent it to his supervisor. And his supervisor said, don't you even go close to this. I will not supervise this. Because if you touch this, you will never get your PhD, and I might lose my job. It won't work in this. So I believe that the reason that there's a homogeneous acceptance of evolution is that it allowed biology to get religion out of science, especially God. So intelligent design isn't science. Allegedly, it's religion. And it's because of the way the sociology of the practitioners now function. It's not based on evidence. That's reason number one. Criteria number two, for when it's reasonable to go against the authorities, even though they're in the majority, is not just there's an alternative explanation besides their rational evidence, but it is if there is a small rebel group of highly trained, educated, skilled practitioners who publish in peer-reviewed journals and in high-quality books and who have provided an alternative paradigm. Thomas Kuhn said that sometimes, the philosopher of science, sometimes those rebel groups bring about a revolution and overturn the old theory. What we have in intelligent design today is not your granddaddy's creationist. These guys are SMART. And by the way, it's about time Christians celebrated people that have credentials. I'm tired of pastors saying, you know, Jesus is for everybody. We don't care about getting credentials and all that stuff. Baloney. You don't need credentials, but Jesus is for everybody and for the local family. But we need credentialed people in the church who can defend what we believe in Christ. That is about what we believe in. Now, what we've got today is a unbelievably skilled, highly trained, theistic evolution. If you're not a theistic evolutionist, look at the qualifications of the people who publish in that, and that'll be enough. Thank you very much.
Would ask what his stance is on creation, evolution, creation, how does it work, how does it work, and so much is
I think I want to use it because I think he's known for being a sort of knowledge to me pretty much in one sense but that's awesome. Okay, I think from what I have seen him say that he's a very conservative person. I think his views. Obviously, when he started out talking about dying, it's obviously makes sense that he dies, he's going to heaven. On the other hand, when he talks about science and creation, he seems to indicate that what the Bible says is what the Bible means, and that we can trust the Bible as a book of knowledge, not just a book of military faith. I don't know what's that perspective, man. We want to let that go. So he's not anti-science, he's anti the philosophical underpinnings that science bases its views on. And he says you can't have a structure built on a soft foundation. The foundation has to be good.
Sometimes that's a decision that I believe is very smart. I don't speak about who said it. I accept the bottom line for it. And I was sincere, so I don't know that I'm a skeptic. I like to say, it's understood that I found the Bible more natural representation of what I just did. I like presentation. Larger parts. The problem is, how this stature becomes an authority. When I was in college, they asked me to prepare a working library for a theologian, for a pastor. It wasn't complete. I had to do sermons, details, pictures. The answer was, they can't find the Bible, they can't find the Steve, they can't find the sanctuary. What is it that we're looking for with these guys? They're all authorities. They can't find major things in Scripture. So, I know what he said today. Remember, a little bit of error, so truth. This danger is error.
We have found out as its viewers is in this book as being true. We can rationalize so many things away, and the more we rationalize away what's in here, the weaker our view is of the Bible. One of the things that Mormon says that I agree with is Jesus was an intellectual. If you read Jesus and how much he loved you, and Jesus was mild, and a lamb, and that's all you have. The subtleties of his arguments when he argues with the Sadducees and the lawyers. And when you start looking for the intellectual arguments that Jesus made, you'll find out this was a really smart, well-educated man. Not well educated by the Pharisees or in the schools of the Sadducees, but educated through this book. And we'll need to do that. And so you need to discuss when we still do after having a class of theology, you think, I really need to know this stuff. I have a very simple thing. What came to my mind was, send it to me. I didn't say that. But that's what I knew that when you want to know something, you don't want to see what the Bible is saying, where it's true. We gave up on the Bible as knowledge and truth 150 years ago. And in one of his talks, he talks about the progress we made from 1800 in getting rid of the theologians and getting rid of the authority of the Bible and taking up on all these other things and feeding to science the answer to everything, the answer to the soul, the answer to heaven, the answer to life after death. We shouldn't be giving that up. And I think particularly as elders, we need to rethink how we teach about the truth and the knowledge that's in the Bible. One of the things Mormon says is that the Bible says a lot more knowledge than knowledge that it has been faith. What an interesting idea. Wisdom and knowledge. And knowing